Fire.
Sean, good morning.
Sean, rapid fire.
We are 10 days away from kickoff, Nebraska UTEP. And yesterday we found out that 10 single-digit jerseys are out, and it's going to be 9 defenders that have the single-digit jerseys. Sean, are you surprised by that at all? Do you think there'll be any more offensive guys in that conversation?
Well, the team is very defensive heavy when you just look at the leadership structure. I mean, Nat Schotmacher, Isaac Gifford, John Bullock, Deshaun Singleton, and Ty Robinson were the 5 guys that already held them. That's 5 defenders. You look at Tommy Hill. I mean, he's going to be one of the best players on this team. That's 6. Marquise Buford, a veteran that's been, he started all the way going back to the game in Ireland. He's played a lot of football, and he's well respected. And Malcolm Hartzog, who's, started and played a lot of games. Jamari Butler, who Steve Sipple's written many times this summer that he's one of the leaders of this team. It's a lot of guys. And I think when you look at the offense, especially when you take the offensive line out, because offensive linemen can't wear single-digit numbers, the receivers are relatively a new group. I mean, I think you could make a case for Ramir Johnson and maybe Thomas Fedoni as guys on offense that could have got it, but it is a player vote, and the players have spoken. I think it says a lot about Jamal Banks too, and the respect that he's received already on this team.
Ed Foley has also spoken. He did so yesterday. Sean, you were there. He addressed a matter that is important to me, and that is Nebraska's lack of punt return prowess. 16 punt returns last year for 48 yards. That's 3.0 per game. 48 yards in totality was 117th nationally. How do you regard this punt return issue? Do you think there's potential there with what you heard yesterday with who's going to do it?
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it, I guess, because I just, they haven't done it in so long. They don't have a DeMornay Pearson-L back there and some of the people we've seen. And I do think the game has changed over the years where punt returns are harder to come by, especially with the spread punts, the rugby punts, and the punters in the Big Ten. I mean, I was watching Hard Knocks last night, and you see Torrey Taylor for the Bears being featured last night, and just how good he is. Yeah. I mean, you just don't get opportunities a lot. So when you get that 1 or 2 in a game, you've got to take advantage of it and find an extra 10 or 20 yards on a punt return. I'm not saying run it back.
Right.
I think we all agree, hey, get them 10 or 20 yards every once in a while, and that would go a long way.
Sean, Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda, Ja'Cory Barney, Emmett Johnson. Those are your 3 punt returners. Somebody's of those 3 is going to be the man.
Yeah, and it seems like Isaiah Garcia-Castaneda has a great chance to be the guy right now. But Ja'Cory Barney, in my opinion, will be the kickoff returner. And Ed Foley didn't want to tip his hand on that, nor on the kicker. But I did find it interesting on that kicker position.
Okay.
He used the words that John Hull is having a, quote, monster camp right now. And I'm like, oh, that got my attention yesterday when he said that. It would not surprise me if John Hull is the guy that starts the opener.
Sean, 10 days away from kickoff, we don't have an official announcement starting quarterback for Nebraska. Would you still remain stunned if it's not Dylan Raiola next Saturday in Lincoln?
Hot button topic for Sean.
Come on now, guys. I mean, I'd be stunned. I mean, you just watch the Big Ten Network show. I mean, they ask so many questions specifically about him. It would be one of the most shocking. He's a preseason freshman, first-team All-American. I mean, it would be really shocking at this point. Yeah, he's taken every first-team rep, Jake, every first-team rep for the last 2 weeks.
It had to be asked. It's not official yet, Sean. Yes.
Oh,
Sean, just doing journalism here
this morning.
No,
Sean jumps me on that too. Sean, I mean, you got to ask the question a little bit. Now, hold on. Go back to John Hull and Alvano. You think John Hull, the Lincoln Southwest graduate, now he came here via Iowa Western. Are you thinking he is your starting place kicker against UTEP?
Possibly at least game 1, just because of what Alvano is coming off of. And, Nebraska, this is a different coaching staff, but Nebraska lived a situation like this way back under Scott Frost with Barrett Pickering, and he had that injury. And you don't want to mess around with something like this with a kicker, especially if it messes up their mental confidence and their stroke. And it sounds like John Hull. I mean, I heard the other day kickers were 9 of 10 with a live rush in practice, and I believe that was Hall for the most part. So he's had a really good camp. I think they're just watching to see where Tristan is. I think Hall is going to be the guy that does the kickoffs for sure, because that's the one thing you don't want to put Albano through with the stress it could cause on the muscle injury that he suffered.
Sean, you were taken yesterday by Micah Mazuka, probably the starting left guard, right? What's the picture you saw yesterday of Mazuka?
Oh, he's a dude now. I mean, that's a grown man. You only wish he would have came here a year ago too, because he was very, very close to picking Nebraska, and then surprisingly chose Florida when he had all the connections here, his brother, and the relationship that you heard that he had with Matt Rule since he was a young high school player.
Yeah, 10th grade.
Sean, always good stuff. Thanks for the time. We will chat with you again next week.
Okay, guys. Thank you.
Rapid fire.
HuskerOnline, Sean Callahan.
Rapid fire.
Poking the bear apparently over here.